well, Paul. How are you this evening?
Day to day, sister. Thank you, thank you, thank you. How
All
you doing,
right,
everybody?
I'm absolutely wonderful and so excited that you're here in the studio with me as we tackle this topic. But tonight also is very special because we have the youth that have joined us this evening, and I am excited because I have young Anthony Rice, who is 18 years old. Actually, you just had some awesome news just happen for you recently. Why don't you tell our audience about that before we get into this very serious topic?
Okay, well, hi. I'm very excited to be here. I recently got casted on the Have and Have Not.
Woohoo! Right on network. That is
All right,
awesome.
congratulations. Now, that's great
Awesome.
news.
Thank you.
Yes, yes. So doing big things, and that's a beautiful thing because this is a young black man. Excited that you are representing in a positive way sometimes what we don't see in the media. So, we're definitely going to delve right into this topic. One of the things that I do want to say and what I am so excited about is the fact that you actually saw the show, heard the show last week, and decided that you wanted to give, a young perspective because you were so interested in what was being said. So basically, from last week, what did prompt your passion to want to be on the panel tonight?
It was just all the when we were talking about black on black violence and that I already would give people an earful about that, and then the police brutality thing. I was talking to my barber's son about it. He's like 12, but I was just like, you got to be careful around here now, man.
Well, and so as a youth, and I'm just keeping it 100. You are a black man, young black man in this society. Is that truly how you feel, that you have to be careful as you walk the streets every day, or if you're out, kicking it with your friends, that you feel like there could be a possibility that one day you could get picked up?
Oh, yes. I stopped doing a few things, stopped hanging out at night with my friends and stuff now.
Wow.
Yeah, no more.
Wow. And do you think that your peers feel the same way?
I feel like some of them care, and the other ones just look at it as a joke, which they shouldn't.
Okay.
Well, yeah, that's the absolute truth. You can't be a joke. I recall the last week when we were talking, and there was a gentleman who was a retired police officer as well as a corrections officer, and another gentleman of Caucasian persuasion. He and I were speaking, and it seemed to have gotten heated, but we're both passionate about things, and he brought up some phenomenal points. And I thank him for that because I'm thinking about a number of things. And ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, let me make something clear to you at this moment. I'm coming hard, I'm coming raw. I'm comfortable with making other people uncomfortable about the truth. If I say something that's incorrect, check me. Okay, but if it's correct, digest that, eat that, swallow it, get some protein from it, because I'm coming at you hard, because we don't have any time. I post a lot of things as far as on my page when I see police brutality in regards, and my comments are like, we are at war. They declared it. And to some of the great police officers out there, and I know there are lots and lots of you, I don't hate the police, okay, but my respect for their office is not respect, it's fear to a large degree of regards to what can happen to me out of nothing and the disparity of what we're working with. So I'm coming across, this is just me. What I'm speaking is not necessarily the thoughts or beliefs of anybody else around me or anyone else. I'm not interested in compromise anymore. I'm not. You understand our plight. You understand our problem. We've been talking about it for more than 100 years. This is 2016. 1916, 20s, 1926, 36, 46. We've been going through a number of things that we should have had from 1776. It's not there. It's not going to get there. You're not pushing it to be there. My whole thing is, I'm not interested in asking you for emancipation when we have the right and the power and the ability to do certain things on our own. We've had our own Black Wall Street. When we did, a number of individuals would not leave us alone. So I don't want to fight you for anything right now. I'm interested in taking my own. And we have the ability to do that because I had to come across some information recently, economically speaking, that we hold more than $700 billion in wealth that we as black people or people of color, that includes the Latin community as well, people of color deal with in this American economy. So if we're not being respected or protected about certain things, let's move our money to somewhere else. That's one thing. You know, when the gentleman spoke to me about solutions, okay, I gave him 3 last week. One had to deal with proper education, you know, fairness with jobs, and honestly, justice and liberty in the legal system. I'm not interested in talking to you about it anymore. Unless you're doing something to step up on it, I'm the one catching hell behind it. What do you want me to compromise with? Bow down? Not happening. So if anything ever happens with me, brothers and sisters, and I'm being raw and uncut, I never commit self-murder. That means I'm not going to be suicide in some cell somewhere. I don't have a weapon on me. I don't carry no drugs on me. I'm not doing anything I'm not supposed to be doing. All right? So if anything happens to me, no one understands. We were getting it in. That's just how it's going to be. So for the officers that are out there doing what they need to do, much love and respect to you. But if you come dirty, no one understands. If I survive it, I'm coming back. That's how it is. I mean, this is the war call. I'm doing a war call. Forgive me as far as on Praise Radio is concerned. I apologize, but I'm not sorry in any way, shape, form, or fashion. You know, we're at war. And this is what most of my brothers and sisters aren't getting. How are you going to say we're going to communicate with certain things when we're doing all the dying? We're getting our butts whooped. We're sitting out there, and yes, we have the camera. Put that camera down and jump in and whoop somebody's ass. Excuse me. Jump in. Don't let that sister get dragged down the street, that young brother get beat the hell up. Get it in. Once they see that we're ready to get physical with certain things, and yes, it's got to go that way. People says, no, violence doesn't solve everything. But we'll stop that crap right there on the spot. Check the other countries. I've seen it in China where an officer hit a woman. The crowd almost beat that cop to death on the spot. A man in a soccer field somewhere, he wasn't a protester, he was just happy running across the field. Some police officers jumped on him, took him down, and started kneeing him and hitting him. The crowd bum rushed this field and let them cops know. The cops had to be escorted out. If it doesn't fit, let it flow. Okay? Do your job, but if you go above and beyond, you're going to catch it. And that's how I feel about it.
Okay, so you actually just brought up, some great points. You actually talked about, as it relates to where we need to be as a people in our culture. So right now I want to introduce one of our guests that is sitting on the panel remotely. He is actually the author, critically acclaimed author of the book In Plain View. It's Senefer I. And I'd like to bring him on the line. Hi, Senefer. How are you this evening?
I'm good, Angela. How are you today?
Absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for being on the panel tonight. So listen, you heard Burnell. In a nutshell, one of the things that we've often talked about, especially as it relates to your book, is, some things he pointed on, having our own, building our community, uniting, and then the issues with, as it relates to the police officers and the racism that is so blatant right now in our country. What is your opinion of that, Mr. Senefer?
Well, one of the things that I think is we get emotional, and we should, when we see what happened or what happens quite too often to young black males or brown people. And the thing is that the police department, we can't get this confused. The police department is working. It does exactly what it was created to do. It does exactly what it was created to do. There was never any equality for black people anyway. And so the slavery system was only perfected. It never, ever was done away with. So how do you beat this? Sure, like the brother Vernell said, we're at war. And being at war means that it's wartime. But I'll tell you something, we'll never beat this system with bullets. You'll never beat them with bullets. You'll never beat them with brawn and strength. And so how do you, if you want to take back your neighborhoods and build your neighborhoods, there has to be an social and economic strategy. And you have to start somewhere. Right now, black people are all over the place. We look at Black Lives Matter and we get excited about that, but Black Lives Matter, you got to look at what that is. That's not the movement that's going to cure our situation. We have to be collective thinkers and say, you know what, today we made a conscious decision to boycott and take Walmart out of our neighborhoods. And people say, why Walmart? You take Walmart out of your neighborhoods, you'll build part of your neighborhood back within a year, because Walmart snatches the billions of dollars out of our community every year. They pay the black people that work there less than pennies. Most of them are on welfare. That's the strategy. When you start tearing down some of these corporate entities that fund, see, the police are doing just what they're supposed to do. They were created to support a system of white supremacy, and that's what they do. And so, to look at one of ours shot down in the street and we get upset about it, we should. But we should be more upset about those that are shooting each other down too. You know what I mean? We lose a lot more than one police shooting a brother. Until the conversation becomes unified to boycott, you can march all you want and talk all you want. Until you put your money where your mouth is, it's not going to mean anything. Did anybody move their money from their bank to Citizens Trust Bank?
Ah, yes,
I
indeed.
did.
There you go. That's right. That's right.
So if you're not doing the work or saying I'm going to fight back with my dollar and encouraging everybody around you, family members and everybody to do the same thing with black businesses and black banks, and not that the banks are that, but if I'm going to spend my money, I'm going to spend it somewhere where I know they're not using it for their benefit. So that's my take on police brutality. It's always been there. Nothing's changed.
Well,
They're doing just what they're supposed to do.
Well, what I wanted to also, I appreciate that, and I concur with you on that aspect. And, you know, Brother Malcolm back in the day said it's the ballot or the bullet, of which we're going to get into as well, because if our votes didn't matter, why are they trying so hard to keep us from certain things as far as in regard to legislation? But everything ties into exactly what you're speaking about there, Soldier. Our economic wealth, that did work for us back in the 60s. When we didn't like and appreciate what they were working with, we didn't spend our dollars with them. And that's exactly what we do need to do. But the other problem that I feel that this society has developed over the last 20 years with us is we've come into an age where we want it not now, right now. People want results right away. And we have forgotten what it takes in regards to time and sacrifice. When you said it may take a year to tear it down in regards to the Walmart, absolutely. We have to be consistent and get ready to make that move to another area and say, well, we're going to spend our money with us or with those who represent us or those who respect us. And it will take time. We got to hit them in the pocket. Because no, at this time, we don't have the necessary firepower, so to speak, to kick back up. But I want to bring something to everybody's attention just on that aspect. When you had those officers that were murdered, and they were murdered, and my heart goes out to them in that particular aspect, but officers are warriors, and when they put on that uniform, they'll let you know that they're going into battle, and they volunteered for it, not like a soldier going off to war for the country. And it shouldn't be looked upon as that, but that's more or less how it's deemed these days. When I think about the movie 300 men went against over 1 million and holding up an army trying to invade their land, just 300. Now I'm looking at these two men, and they didn't need, both of them said definitively, don't attach me to any cause. I'm doing this solely. Okay, well, one of them did anyway, as far as Dallas was concerned. And I don't commend that, but just think about it in that aspect. If there were 10 of us, 20 of us, and I'm not condoning us going out there and sniping officers. I'm not condoning that. But if it took place in that particular aspect, you don't think that would raise some eyebrows in regards to say, uh-oh, wait a minute, we need to change tactics? We need to do something? Because a number of individuals are working with impunity. Absolute impunity. My whole thing with me, and I'm coming at everybody like this, I'm going to keep coming at you like this. You're not going to keep slapping me, and I'm going to say, please stop, please stop. No, I'm going to hit you back with a brick to let you know I'm not having it. That's the only thing that's going to let them know to stop it. So when you say we don't have the firepower to do certain things, we're already dying. If we're going to die, can we die for something? Instead of them just, dragging us down. That's how I feel.
So why wouldn't, and I hear you, and that's I guess I wouldn't take that position only because it's a war that we won't win. And it would be foolish for our young kids to die in a battle like that that in a battle that we wouldn't win. However, as financial strategists would sit back and say, you know what, the move on this chessboard right now is to take our money and pull it out. United States is in a financial strain right now with China. They got Russia. They got all these countries. They got to pay Japan. They got all of China. They got all of these different areas that they're jacked up in. All they need is an assault, a financial assault on the inside, and it could be the thing that changes the face of government. So to start a war with a system, who are you going to shoot at?
Well,
who are you going to fight?
Exactly, but you know what? I appreciate you saying that, and this is what I'm learning. Now, you can recall, because you sound like a gentleman of great intelligence, and as far as your age is concerned, you recall a particular time when they said, we fear when the sleeping giant becomes awakened. And when I look at the Black Lives Matter worldwide movement, not just here in the U.S., so when you speak about allies and things of that nature, we're now operating on a global stage. I would like to say to the young brother who's before me at this moment, and the sister, how do you feel in regards to that operates towards our struggle here in the U.S.? What do you take from that as far as Black Lives Matter worldwide? What would be your take?
Well, obviously in the U.S. it's more of an issue, but globally, if people around the world are now screaming Black Lives Matter, then obviously there's an issue, and the cops are going to act like.
That's Britain. Yes, in France, they are in it.
I actually did not know in France that they were
protesting hard, and in Britain, okay, and a number of other countries, even some of the Latin American countries.
But here's the thing, even talking about where Senefer's coming from as far as the financial.
Yes, the economic aspect.
Okay, so here's the thing, because that actually speaks volume. So I was watching part of the RNC. Okay?
Oh, Republican National Convention.
Correct. And I got to the point, I was on it by accident, to be honest with you, but Donald Trump was speaking, and one of the things that he said, he was actually speaking this as if to say, black people, are poor in this country or whatever the case may be. What he didn't realize was the statistics that he was given is actually the argument that we've been making all along. So he said that of the population, we make up 13%, and that's in conjunction with, I want to say, 18%, he said Latino, right? Mm-hmm. So he was saying of that, if I'm not mistaken, his numbers were, and I could be a little bit off, but was the ballpark. 58% of those blacks are poor, okay? Which speaks to our argument about, that's what we've been arguing all along. It's never been a fair playing field to begin with. So of us being the least in number, but the most poverty-stricken, what does that tell you? Two things are happening. Either you're not getting the work to be able to make the kind of money, or we're spending to keep up with everybody else.
Exactly.
So as it relates to that, where you do hit them in the gut is when you pull those dollars away, because the only way that they say as far as our culture, I want to say like 70%, we're the ones that are putting the money back into these. You wouldn't even have a Macy's or, the things that you have that are white owned if it wasn't for black spending, period. So if we did take that away, it would be a huge blow, and make a huge impact as it relates to, financial empowerment, because really that is what speaks ultimately the dollar.
Yes.
The whole system of racism is for the 1%ers. You know what I'm saying? Because in order for them to preserve that and to keep division, it has to be that of that 1%, they have the most in the country, so they're able to, pay for propaganda and be able to, the media, a lot of times what we see on television, through our music, through influence, that all is, subliminal messages that are always hidden messages that cause us to stay divided and never come together, period.
Well, you know what? A lot of things.
You know,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir.
I heard, a lot, and the show, I appreciate the thought process of our people and how we are seeking to find a way to resolve our situation. I heard you say France and Britain, and they were protesting and saying Black Lives Matter. When you say protesting, and I think what we've gotten so accustomed to is that word protest. To protest, for us, when we hear that, the word protest means get a sign, get out, go block traffic, stand in the street, Black Lives Matter, and they wait us out. And then they wait the protest out, and the protesters go home, and you accomplished absolutely nothing. You go to the mall and you say, I'm not spending, don't spend no money here today. And the mall sits, and it sits all day, and then you go home, and the next day the mall is packed and full. And so when we look at you got to look at the core and the root of this thing. What did France have to do with black people? Look at what the French did to black people. As a matter of fact, any protest in Britain right now would be oxymoron. Give us back our riches that you got in your museums. Give us back our stuff.
And the reparations. Now, I agree with you in that aspect in regards to a lot of situations.
Well, I'm not talking about reparations.
No, but
I could care less about reparations. I'm saying it would be an oxymoron for the protest is what I'm saying. Makes no. Soros is paying for Black Lives Matter. He gave them $30 million so that they can extend. And see, you have to understand, if you read the NSM, and I talked about it before, the NSSM 46, which is the National Security Memorandum 46, you can pull it up online and you read it, and it'll talk about all of the strategies to stop black unity from ever happening in this country. And the one thing that did stop black unity from happening in this country with this situation is Black Lives Matter right now. It started out, the organization started out moving forward to say Black Lives Matter, we ain't taking it no more. And now you got all these other races that have infiltrated it, and now it becomes an American issue where everybody and all these different nationalities are involved in it. But all these different nationalities don't share our situation. They can't fix our situation.
No,
the only ones that can fix our situation is us.
But wait a minute. Now, this is what Angela was speaking about. We were discussing in the past week. And I have to, I'm taking a knowledgeable on that's wherever it comes from. Now, she said empathy in regards to other individuals. No, they can't go what we're going through. They don't understand what we're going through. But I had to give her props in regards to saying, if a person can understand that I'm feeling pain from my cut, they don't have to have my cut to know that I'm bleeding or to know that I'm going through certain things. We have come into a situation at a point in time right now where the moralistic view on how things need to be dealt with, prescribed, and solutions brought forth, we have to go outside the box in regards to gain those allies. Because here we are in the wilderness of North America, and working as we have been alone for so long. Other people in other countries can talk about it, but now through technology, we honestly do have a reach. And yes, I put it like this: the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So if I can grab an ally from those that would more or less be oppressed by those that we're being oppressed by, but in a different manner, we need to co-join with that. Show our empathy for what they're working with. They give us empathy, but it makes us stronger. And we have to get that. So in order to not just our own people, but others, we have to have that, for especially for the economic backup. For my younger brothers and sisters.
Do you remember COINTELPRO?
I'm sorry?
Remember COINTELPRO?
COINTELPRO, yes.
You remember how we lost Africa? We lost it by integrating. And the only thing that Black America, the only healing point for Black America is going to come from Black America. I wouldn't concern myself with other people who jump on the bandwagon because 9 times out of 10, there are more agents involved in Black Lives Matter than there is people that you would kind of think, well, what are they doing there? At most of those rallies, there's some white guys spray painting, talking about pigs, kill the police. That's not black people doing
I understand that, but wait a minute. My whole thing
And
is
so-
exactly
and
what you're
so my
talking
point-
about. We know we got
Right, so
spooks.
my-
We know we got spooks sitting by the door. We understand that. And that's how it's going to be regardless. I'm also with you because I believe integration was one of the worst things that ever happened to us from the 50s and 60s. You know, love is love wherever you find it, be that as it may. But when we had to have our own, we had our own and we made it work. But again, I've got to go backwards. For those who haven't had a history lesson, for like the young brother right here, when Angela and I happened to say to him, do you know anything about Willie Lynch? He was like, who? I said, booyah, there we go. So from that aspect, in order for us to grow forward, just as black people, I'm not even talking about working with anybody else, we don't even know who the hell we are. We don't even have that camaraderie that other nations and people have.
That's my
So
point.
exactly, we do not. But we got to get it. We got to get it. We can't talk about it. We got to make it happen. You know, and I would say by hook or by crook, we got to make that happen. So when I'm speaking to this brother that's next to me and this young lady that's next to me right now, that's my future. But what am I laying down now? There has been a huge gap when the brothers back in the day went into the federal buildings with guns and came out with jobs. They placate us. They pacify us. Exactly as you said,
Right.
they weighed us out. But how do we continue to keep that pressure? So in regards to the solution that you speak about for our diversification of our monies from dealing with them and their economic strife and holding us back, where do we diversify that to? Because right now, we are so intertwined in every and anything that white America works with, that we want to be down with everything that they're dealing with. Where are we at? How do we separate that? I mean, when you talk about the black-owned banks, I researched the one that's here in Atlanta and the bank that's in Massachusetts. And I'm like, okay, fantastic, great. But they're being hamstrung as well. As far as, I mean, when you look at everything that they offer and what they do, their penalties and things that they have to work with and how they have to back up their money in regards to what it's going with, they don't have as many ATMs, so we wind up paying more fees in other areas because they don't have that stronger or that greater network. I mean, we are so far behind thinking that we are right next to these people that we're basically running backwards. So I have to say, we need to stop exactly what you're talking about, solidify where we're going to move forward from. But the first thing and the first and foremost is to fight. And no, I don't want any more judges. I don't want any more prosecutors. I don't want more daggone police. I need us to be knowledgeable about everything that we're going through, what we're working with, and the direction that we need to go into. Okay, I need to make sure that this brother and this sister have a future. It is my duty to make sure that they're respected and protected. But where are the other brothers like you or myself that are standing up? Okay, we've been emasculated. Okay, in regards to how we're supposed to be seen fit as the protector of our queens. You know, we don't even see that. Most of us won't even stand for something, but we'll fall for anything with the quickness. We don't have that backbone. You know, a lot of brothers out there, you softer than drugstore cotton. You know, how you gonna be softer than your woman and consider yourself a king? Miss me. I say you're soft with a T. Soft. Okay, and if you don't like it, don't raise up. Get knowledge. And come out of here and step up and do something powerful and positive, like diversify. Like you said, I'm not interested in holding up traffic. Okay? I'll go and march in front of the police station all day long and watch what they deal with. Right there where they do their job. I don't want to hold up the brothers and sisters that are trying to get to work and get into traffic or got to go to the hospital and do other things in that area. And you're right. They wait us out. But we have to come up with born universal truth. We have to come up with other things that actually matter and do a maximum impact, not now, right now. To the sister, I would say, what is your idea on what do you think could make something happen? If you could do something that would have a hell of an impact right now from your generation to what's happening out here, what would you say, brother, what we need to do? Something, if you could just pick one thing. Brother, please.
There's so much that actually could be done and should
Just
be done.
the one.
I don't know, because I feel like the marches, that would be good if they were actually listening to us instead of just looking at us as a bunch of ignorant people.
Okay, so we know that marching ain't working. Exactly as he said, I don't believe marches work. What would you do? Now, economically, let's go to the money then. Where are you lacking? What is holding you back?
Well, I'm broke.
Why are you broke?
Well, minimum wage?
Minimum wage. Well, do you have the skills for a job that can pay you what you think you deserve?
Not yet.
Not yet. So that comes with education.
Yes.
So do you think that you should be able to afford a better education system to give you what you need, to do what you need? Not a handout, but a hand up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't believe in handouts. But
Well, no. This country was founded on hands up because they got it. We don't get that. You know, I mean, I take it back to FDR when the brothers came back from World War II. There was supposed to be the GI Bill was set out to do certain things. Ain't that right? The GI Bill was set out to do certain things for our people of that particular time when they were reintegrated back into society for homes, businesses. We got none of that.
And we still.
Okay, and we still aren't. Here it is, what? Almost 100 years later. And we still scratching for crumbs. But I agree with the brother said, let's diversify, but at the same token, one of the problems we have as people of color is we don't trust each other. But again, Willie Lynch has a lot to do with that because we're still looking at young versus old, man versus female, light versus dark,
Yeah.
etc.
Recently,
Okay?
it's been dark versus white. I've got a lot of side eye from darker skinned African Americans because of my skin color.
But it ain't your fault.
It's not. I didn't have a choice.
I'm glad, you know what, I'm glad we're saying this right now because I want to bring this in and deal with us as just a people. I have, in my lifetime, walked and been in certain areas where I saw a brother. And we caught each other's eye, and it came out to a point where it was like, you know, I don't like you. The feeling was right there, but he didn't even say 2 words to me. So I had taken it upon myself later down the line and stepped up to him, and he was getting ready to get it in. And I said, have I ever done anything to offend you? But if I have, allow me at this moment to apologize, because you're my brother.
But you can't apologize for your skin color.
No. But my whole thing is that will create dialogue, that person will know. Because if we ain't never talked, I don't know you.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at you like, I'm looking at you some kind of way until you say, well, brother, did I do something wrong to make you look at me like this? No, then, you know, can we be cool? If you offer that olive branch, just offer it. Don't cost you nothing. And if he shuns you, screw him. You got to keep doing you.
Yeah.
Because that's his mindset holding him back. Okay? But we have to be able to communicate with each other in that aspect, and we're not doing it.
Not at all.
We're not doing it. So dialogue has to come from us, exactly as my man said first, in addition to our economic situation. But we have so many things that have been tearing us down for so long, I'm almost baffled where to start. But one of the things that one of the things that I'm having an issue with is what to stop. You know, I know what we need to start, but I'm having a hard time stopping others killing us, others. And that includes black cops, because our topic is police brutality, you know, and Black Lives Matter. That is our topic. And I've come across, I got punched in my face by a black cop. I was cuffed, and I'm like, dude, really? You know, he hooked off on me because I was saying, hold up, wait a minute, let me get poop, poop, pop. You know, he didn't knock me down. I was more stunned and angry that, why you hit me? White cop didn't even hit me. I've had them put guns to my head as far as in my lifetime is concerned. I take responsibilities for my action because I wasn't always correct. I wasn't always correct.
Right.
You know, I might have been in the wrong spot back in the day doing the wrong thing with the wrong people. So I wear that. And luckily, I came out where I'm able to communicate and talk about certain things right now. But to see the things that are way, way, way over the top, as far as the cops abusing black just as well as the white. You know, when Ice Cube and NWA back in the day put out that record, F the Police, it was simply because they were so abusive in their language, in their demeanor, in their physical stance towards us. You know, I want to bring certain things back like the Black Panthers Party, because I do know not every black man, woman out there right now has a police record, and you can get a permit for a weapon. And if we do that in droves, if I can't afford it, get 5 or 6 of us together and we get a legal permit to do certain things, they'll start thinking. They'll have to start thinking. I'm looking for ways in regards to trying to make something else happen. I mean, I need to stop what's happening. And again, like I said, I don't want to talk about it. I need to be about it because we're dying and I'm tired of it.
Well, I tell you, Senefer had to go. I definitely appreciate his commentary for the moments that he was on. But for me, I'm built as a lady, so I'm a lover, not a fighter.
What that mean?
So, well, I say that to say, so even though you're ready to go to war, I actually do like the fact that I think strategically there are better ways to kind of punch them in the gut, so to speak, in order to get the point
Well,
across.
I'll give you that way because yes, you are a lady. But there have been African tribes where the females were like, "You're going to war,"
And I get that.
And you look, and if you after you go to war, we going to war.
Well, listen, if you want to talk about that, when we watched the movie 300, the chicks was just as dominant as the men as far as they knew how to take care of their
Well,
children.
yeah, but you know what they were. But again, we're speaking fictionally and non-fictionally, if I may say. We used to come from a situation where our roles were clearly defined. You, hypothetically, as my wife, my queen, when we're raising our child, our man-child, after the age of 7, you fall completely back. He is mine. And I'm going to raise him to be a man of the house, a soldier, a warrior for the people. And now in this day and age, I got so many young men that are so soft, and I'm going to keep saying soft. I'm going to keep saying it. And then I got so many sisters, like, my people, her daughter, I call her Mimi. I'm scared for somebody because Mimi is a monster. And she only weighs 104 pounds. This little girl will leap. She ain't got much sense. But, I'm striving to groom her in that aspect. But I know so many other sisters that will get out here and get it in. But I want to make sure that your mind is ready for a number of things that you're working with. And yes, I appreciate the fact that, yeah, Angela, you're a girly girl. And you're going to be like, your position in regards to what you're working with. But yes, I want us to be able to go to war with books and with knowledge.
That's right.
We got to be able to have that. And yes, I need those sisters that have that compassion. That
Well, because again, and it's really because I have to go back to even the beginning. Back in slave times, I know that I get beat up for saying this all the time. But you had to have abolitionists to help the slaves go through the Underground Railroad. I know a lot of people have their theories on whether it was true, whether it wasn't true. But at the end of the day, literally, you always needed a part of the majority in order to help the minority. And I say that to say we always talk about this divisiveness. And I'm saying we first have to take care of us. We need to come together. We need to unify. But then I also say that to say that it's for a greater purpose, which I feel like encompasses everybody. I just feel like there's so many people who get, an unfair stigma because of few people that do the things that they want to do. I say all the time, not all slave masters were the white people we talk to every day. A lot of white people in their history never owned anything.
Yes.
They own land, let alone a black maid or whatever. So at the end of the day, I just think that if we do gain the knowledge that we need, and if we do, start to use smarts, use your brain to come up with ideas. A lot of the things that were founded in this world we never get credit for, but we actually created.
It created, exactly.
Okay? So again, that's the level playing field that I was speaking of. We were talking, some people had written in and, asked me to speak about, again, what Donald Trump was saying about, as it written, because we were talking about the dynamics of how it's so unfair. So I used something as simple as when his wife plagiarized Michelle Obama's speech, okay? How as a country, because he's the man, and I put that in quotes, they just bypass that. Almost to the degree is, to say it's truly okay because he's him to do whatever you want to do.
Exactly.
See, we mulled over that, but my thing is, if you are quick to lie about something as simple as a speech,
oh my God, what
then what else are you going to be? Exactly, and that's my point. And then they just kind of wanted to mull over that or whatever, and then they get into, Hillary did this and this and that. Even politically speaking, I'm not advocating anyone's side, But at the end of the day, we talk about, Donald says, hey, I'm for America, but all of your wives,
I haven't been.
plural,
Exactly.
okay, which
Out of
means you have
country.
no stability in family, which supposedly, that's what we was ready to impeach Bill Clinton for, or he got impeached. I never really got clarity on whether that happened
No,
or
he
didn't
finished out his
happen.
term, but yeah.
But at the end of the day, you were ready to, throw him to the wolves because he was an adulterer or whatever. But then you want to give Donald a free pass. He had about 20 wives. I mean, how many does he have? We don't really know.
We don't really know.
And of all of them, isn't just one American?
Yes, Marla Maples.
Okay, so my thing is, you got about 5 or 6 out of the country. So what? How
And
do
then you
I
wanna
know
be
you think
and then you want to be on
America is
immigration.
beautiful?
Thank you.
That is my point exactly. So you picking and choosing who can come to the country and who can't.
But-
as long as they're beautiful and they can be on your panel, then it's okay. That's the kind of foolishness that I'm talking about. That we continue. But see, as a people, instead of trying to say that it's really a black or white thing or it's a color thing, we're saying, oh no, he's okay to do that. Let's just brush over that because that's not significant.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
mean, I have so many things
people
in that
wanted
area.
to,
I have
so
so many
people have
things
been
in that-
talking about that.
I have so many things in regards to Mr. Trump that I could just kick off and kick out, but
All the bankruptcies.
oh please, my whole thing is business-wise. I've come across a lot of information over the last several weeks in regards to business people who have stepped up and said he robbed me, he lied, he cheated me, and I had to roll out with certain things because he would say, well, I'll just hold you in court and bankrupt you, and you won't be able to fight
Well,
anything
even
else.
with the running of his business, those are all, most of them are Latino people. But you want to put a wall up to say they're not welcome, but they're okay to work in your hotels
Exactly.
and your
Exactly, but they can't stay there. I have a question. I want to change this just slightly, if I may. To my brother, young brother that's right here, right now. I want to say to you, if you've been lacking anything in regards to guidance, information, support, or backing from the older generation, and I didn't want to put it out like that, but I wanted to get to a point. What do you think that your generation could need, would use, or should have from those like myself who are, from 30s, 40s, 50s up? What could we do? What should we be doing to make things correct?
That's actually a really good question. Like I told you, I was watching Straight Outta Compton last night. It seems like back then we were just doing what we're doing now, rioting and recording, because they did record back then too. What we're doing now, the violence, I guess.
You
That
mean our violence or the violence against us?
the violence against us has been here. It's not new. It's just
Okay, so you're talking about our violence.
our violence.
Thank you.
It seems like the only thing they're listening to, but then they pin it against us like you shouldn't do that. But it seems like that's the only option they're giving. That's the only thing they'll listen to. Now I'm with you. I'm not saying let's go out there and snipe some cops. I'm just saying.
But when they kick up, they got their attention.
Yes.
So let me ask you a question now, based upon now, since we're speaking about NWA and you talking about Straight Outta Compton, the gangster rap of that time, but they were more or less put out there. I love the movie and everything else, but there were other rap groups that were for edutainment, like KRS, Public Enemy, X-Clan. Okay, the brothers that were speaking about Pan-Africanism and things of that nature. Do you know anything about that? Or what they used to call edutainment? Okay. Okay. Well, if you get an opportunity, check some of the old stuff out. I mean, because the brothers, when they rapped back in the day, they had something to say. It wasn't about what I got, what I'm doing. It was about
bad.
there is no message
Right.
No.
today. And this is my, you get to the beat. A girl could,
All right, fella.
Bring it
the
back,
window!
bring it back.
and instead of, I got a letter from the government the other day. I opened it, read it. It said they were suckers. They wanted me for the army or whatever. Picture me giving a damn. I said never. Here's
he
a
rapping?
land that never gave a damn about a brother like me and myself because they never did. I wasn't with it, but just the very minute it occurred to me, the suckers had authority. See,
But
but
that's
my whole
what he
thing,
means by that was how we used
we
to
put it out.
educate
We had
people
something to say.
ourselves back
We
then.
had something to say, and yeah, I wrote some stuff with man. That was Public Enemy. That was Public Enemy right there. They were one of my favorites. KRS, in regards, you must learn. You know, a lot of the things that they taught in regards to the music, because I have learned, even to this day, when my nieces and nephew, they'll diddy bop in the back seat when I'm doing certain things, and they can sing a song, and I'll turn the radio off, and I'll say, check this out. We are right now, and let's just say we're in the city of Atlanta. If I was going to New York, what direction am I going in? I'll ask you. North. Quick, fast, and in a hurry. They're like, I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding? But you can sing this daggone song.
Oh yeah, I used to ask my nephews, or not my nephews, my little cousins.
Right?
They used to live in South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
So when they lived with us for a little bit, they were like, how far is South Carolina? It's in Georgia, right? I was like,
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, there are a lot of things that I try to do, and I wish to be about knowledge and education. That's more or less, I think, is my duty at the point that I have in right now. For the cause, we're losing a lot of knowledge. And for the elders who are above me right now, when a black man or a woman who's in their 70s and 80s pass away, that's an encyclopedia that's gone. We should be ciphering everything that they have right now, because our way of learning and our knowledge, because I never knew any of my grandparents. Okay, my father was born 1919. Wow. That's what I said. Okay, 1919. So I'm thinking he was born before the Great Depression in 29. 10 years. He was only 10 years old when that kicked off. So I'm like, and he was in the Navy during World War II and things of that nature. Some of the things that he's gone through, some of the things that he's seen, I can't comprehend. So I have to look at any elder and think about where they've been to where they are right now, what they went through, and how we disrespect, those who have gone before us to put a number of things down. It was my duty to make things easy for you, but it is not your right to discard it. And that's what I would say to the younger brothers and sisters. You got what you got because a lot of people died to make sure that you have it. But they don't know it.
yeah.
They don't know it. So through that book knowledge, we can go to war with books and with knowledge. Yes, indeed. And that's what I was speaking to the brother about, the gentleman that we spoke to about last week. And I say the brother, the white guy, the brother.
Mm-hmm,
You
that's
know,
right.
that's right.
That's right.
What he mentioned as far as last week was concerned, those three things that I think is imperative for us. I mean, we got a dozen more, 2 dozen, 100 more. But education, employment, equal employment opportunities, just give us a shot. We can do the job 110 plus. And then the legal system. Those situations that operate well with us gives us a sense of entitlement and empowerment to operate with you on a level playing field. And we can grow from there. And that's what I would love to be able to have and work with. If you just do that and stop cutting me off at the knees and expect me to run a 100-yard dash, I'm in there.
Well, I think that would be an excellent point to actually close with tonight. It is definitely imperative that we get the education and the knowledge that we need in order to be able to move forward, because I'll even say this, and I was being transparent, and this was, maybe some months ago when I first started interviewing, and we first came up with the series of dealing with racism, because of course it is definitely not a comfortable topic. A lot of people don't like to, discuss it because people get so angry, but you can't get mad at someone who only knows their history, period. A huge thing, and I say this about Jack all the time, one of the things is he wants to know, and then when he starts asking questions, we bite his head off. He like, okay, I'm just a white man trying to understand why, where y'all feel. Again, and not that we owe him that, but to be honest with you, if we're all looking at things from a humanistic perspective, then it is important for us to understand this is where he feels, a certain way, because we feel like he was raised in entitlement, even if he, per se, his family didn't raise him. It's the whole culture in and of itself. It's the same with us. They feel like we're so defensive about everything, or we cry about everything, but when everything is done wrong to you, that's all we know.
Thank you. Well put.
Coming together to understand that is definitely what we need. And again, these platforms are important because we do have to start finding out what we need to do, because we can't just sit and be passive. And that's on both sides. Because I'm telling you, it's getting to a point where it is even unnerving people of other races, and a lot of white people are offended by a lot of the things that are starting to take place because it does appear to be so blatant. So make sure you start educating yourself. I didn't know a lot about our history when I first started in these endeavors and did not realize how much of a gap that leaves for me, because it helps you to understand where we come from. You said that when you walk down the street, sometimes dark-skinned people look at you sideways or whatever the case may be. You didn't even know where that evolved from or where that originated from.
Exactly,
and why
yes.
to understand that, when you understand someone else and how they feel, then it helps you guys to come together, because at the end of the day, and I say this all the time, they all look at us as black, whether we like dark hair,
Ooh,
male,
yeah,
and everything
other
in
side
between.
does.
Even the mix.
Yes.
Period.
Mix.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, you just have to be, come to a point where we get the knowledge, but then we start utilizing it. And, I know what you were saying, Burnell, and I'm about to close it up, about, well, we're tired of, cops and this and that. We definitely are. But you know what? I have to say what Micah spoke of last week. It is important that if you decided, hey, I want to be a police officer because I want to make a difference, and then change the dynamic of the code blue silent or whatever the thing is they're talking about, then we need more of that. Maybe if we had, 1 million extra cops that were diverse, we wouldn't have the issues that we're having today. And so that's why I say just use, your brains when you're dealing with that. Again, the empathy factor, to me, I don't care what anybody says, it has to be there. Because if I can't even identify with what your issue is, then I'll never have the compassion to want to help you fight this battle.
Yes, and that's what I spoke about with Brother Sinefra.
Yes.
In regards to the worldwide situation, like he said, we need to get it together ourselves, but we need help. We really, really need help in regards to looking at ourselves and growing in that diversity. And
So we can actually start that next week, because we're actually going to continue the series. Now, I do have someone, and again, I think this will help with the empathy factor. I will be having a guest on the show. I won't reveal too much. I just will say that she's one of the women who's, it was a very high-profile case where her son was killed by a white man. And so she definitely can bring empathy. And when people hear the story, which some may know it, some may not, but if they hear it, you can continue to understand why it is so important that we start to come together. And that's on every level. So I want to thank you guys so much again. Anthony, thank you for being on the show. It is so important to get a youthful perspective so that we can know what you guys are dealing with. And of course, Burnell, your passion and everything, I want to thank Sinefra for being on the show and giving his tidbit, because again, all of these different dynamics help us to grow. And each and every Monday night from 8 to 9, this is the summer series, the Angela Foxworth Show Power Hour. We definitely are delving into topics that are just not comfortable but need to be discussed.
I have a question.
And we're going to continue to do that.
I have a question. I understand that we are going to be dealing with politics before the end of this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
We have so much that needs to be discussed on a lot of levels, but the reason why specifically politics is because with this very important, political season, we have to be knowledgeable about making decisions. I'm not advocating any, candidate,
yes.
but definitely want to be able to give you some knowledge.
I would like for
on
people
what
to
we
have
do.
an informed situation, not just because on feelings and based upon certain things. But
That's
yes,
correct.
but I'm done. I'll let the lady do her thing.
So the Angela Foxworth Show each and every Monday, 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time. You can also watch the rebroadcast on Wednesday afternoon from 5 to 6. And we will be here next week again to continue this very, very difficult topic, because it really, really
It ain't
is
difficult for me.
difficult.
There's a
We're
lot to
sure,
talk
we're
about,
sure.
though. There's a
So
lot to
listen,
talk.
you guys have a wonderful evening, and remember, with the Angela Foxworth Show, knowing the truth really does matter, and I am always interviewing with a purpose. Please like our pages, 108 Praise Radio, Voice in the Gospel, the Angela Foxworth Show. I am on Instagram at afoxradio.com, and of course, Instagram 108 Praise. Again, we're so excited. We're closing out again tonight. You guys have a wonderful evening.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Thank you. Good night, folks.
Can I still hear?
Thank you
That was
guys. Yes.
I like what you were working with, man, for real. My whole thing is I will drag you. I'll put you out there. I'm going to throw you right in front of the bus. You gonna be like Superman, stop.